there's Best Buy. I wonder if there are going to be people at this one like there was at the other one. There's a 3080 Ti that showed up here. So it's finally happened. We can see a quantifiable change in the GPU market with not only lower prices, but availability of GPUs you actually want to buy. Let's talk about where these GPUs are popping up, and it's going to be in multiple places, and what prices you may be expected to pay now. Let's get started. So, wasn't a big line at this Best Buy, but another Best Buy not too far away got 45 GPUs today. I'm gonna go in and see if maybe this one got something. I know they got a 3080 Ti Founders Edition because I saw it pop up online, but I'm not too sure if they got anything else. We're gonna go in and take a look. Hey guys, Tiago here with Classical Technology. Some say every time you smash that like button and subscribe, one more GPU falls into your hand at MSRP. So, lucky day at Best Buy. Just leaving now, and I got a Founders Edition. Let's talk about the latest developments. It looks like, for whatever reason you may want to give, maybe crypto mining is down, maybe there's more production, GPU availability and prices are finally coming down. So we went through a few phases. I remember at the beginning of 2021, you couldn't find a GPU anywhere for purchase. It was very, very difficult. Even less desirable GPUs were difficult to find. And then, of course, as the year went on, prices started to steadily increase. And then after a while, some GPUs were available, but unfortunately, they became the ones that nobody really wanted. For example, AMD GPUs were great, but a lot of places were selling them at a considerable markup. I think they really dropped the ball here. If AMD had kept these prices in check, they could have really sold a much more significant amount of these GPUs. Throughout all of last year, we saw the AMD 6800 to 6900 XTs basically stay on the shelves at places like Micro Center. So that means that it really wasn't doing any good for the consumer or for the store. Nobody was selling it. In fact, the biggest proof of this is that the first GPUs for a store like Micro Center to lift the restriction were the AMD GPUs. As of today, you can walk into a Micro Center, if yours does this, and buy not an unlimited amount perhaps. They may get a little funky if you try to buy like 20 of them, but you can certainly buy more than one now, which there was a restriction of one every 30 days, which is still in place for the Nvidia GPUs. So this shows you that it's not that the AMD GPUs were bad. In fact, this generation, the 6800 to 6900 XT, were very competitive with Nvidia in terms of, gaming performance and things like that. Two big factors: they were too expensive compared to Nvidia, which most people will still prefer because, let's face it, Nvidia has the name recognition and GPUs for the last several years. AMD has recently gotten into the higher end GPUs, like last generation. All they really had was like a 5700 XT, so it's been only now that they've really gotten back into it, and not everybody wants to jump ship to AMD because they have had driver issues in previous years and things like that, but I think mostly they're fine. And also for the price that you pay, sort of the cryptocurrency mining performance is not as good compared to the Nvidia counterparts, even though they are pretty efficient GPUs, but that definitely has played a role as well. So many factors, and off the gate, I really think the AIB partners, they priced the GPUs very high, so nobody wanted to buy them at that price, even if the 6900 XT was always significantly cheaper than a 3090, but in gaming performs very similarly. People really weren't willing to buy it. For whatever reason, that's pretty much what happened, and AMD and its partners did not react quickly enough, and they stay on the shelves. That's what happens. Nobody buys them, while even the worst Nvidia GPUs seems to have really sold out extremely quickly throughout most of the year. It's only now that we're actually seeing more desirable GPUs stay in stock for a little bit longer. The other day I was checking out Newegg, and everything seemed to be in stock. I mean, you had 3070 Ti's for under $1,000, their regular MSRP. Even though $599 is the Founders Edition, a third party one like a Asus TUF is going to be $949 or thereabouts. So those were at least in stock, and it's better than $1,200 or $1,300 that, scalpers or your friendly neighborhood scalper might actually charge you for one of these GPUs. There were even some 3090s in stock at their MSRP. I think I saw a Gigabyte 3090, and of course various other GPUs, and this was on Newegg, which traditionally has only done their shuffle because that's the only way people would get a GPU. And even in the shuffle, everything's really overpriced. You're gonna have to overpay for like a, maybe an Asus GPU, which is considerably more expensive than something from like EVGA, and often they're gonna pair something with it that you don't really want, like maybe a power supply or a motherboard from like a like a Z590 that nobody wants because there's something newer now. So definitely a lot of crappy situations really going on there, sort of anti-consumer, if you will. But now they popped up more and more. Even if you search now, you'll be able to find some GPUs that you didn't see before, and it's something you may actually want and not just like the worst of the bunch, like really overpriced stuff or things that nobody wants. So a very, very big improvement. So going forward, what do you have to know about pricing? Well, the pricing floor is officially up. The biggest sort of change is look at the RTX 3080 12 gigabyte. You could look at the EVGA version. That's the cheapest one because Nvidia is not making a Founders Edition. Nvidia has a special deal with Best Buy to just supply their Founder Edition GPUs. The big kicker here is that Founder Edition GPUs are the cheapest ever to this day. For example, if you can get a 3080 at Best Buy, you're going to still pay only $699 even today. So those are the only GPUs that Nvidia didn't raise the price on. Now, in AMD is not really the same unless you get it from AMD directly. For example, today I saw a reference 6800 XT from AMD, but of course it's like I think it was a Power Color or something like that at Micro Center, but it's $1,099, and that's the GPU, the same one that AMD would sell you for $649, I believe the price was, just underneath what an RTX 3080 would have been. So an incredible markup there. I guess AMD didn't really restrict their reference editions or Founders Editions much like Nvidia did, but that's why Nvidia certainly is going to be moving away from doing these Founder Editions. They're way too cheap. Look at the proof of the 3080 12 gigabyte. It's almost twice the price for literally the same GPU with just a little more performance, a little bit more VRAM, not really a huge amount. And especially when you compare it to the 3080 Ti, which was already sort of at that level, doesn't really do much aside from allow them to raise the price floor. That's why when a lot of people say, yes, prices are going down, but they're going to wait until it's at least near MSRP, I think it's going to be tough the day, no pun intended, I guess Asus tough, going to be tough the day that we see like a Founders Edition 3080 selling for its exact MSRP. I mean, of course, retail, eventually those are going to be phased out if that ever happens. Now, it's interesting to see the RTX 3080 Founders Edition. I've seen them go from $1,800 to $2,000 on eBay and on the secondhand market. Now, they're as low as like $1,200, $1,100. If you really look out there, you can find it for that much cheaper, which is still a massive amount above MSRP. And at least for this specific GPU, because it's not LHR or light hash rate limited, it's completely tied to the momentum in Ethereum mining. I mean, that's just how it is. It was $2,000 when Ethereum went through the roof, and it's around $1,100 or $1,200 now when everything's a little bit more quiet. So especially for a GPU like that, that really dictates what the overall price was going to be. But that's still pretty cheap considering that a new 3080 is going to be even more than what the 3080 Ti Founders Edition was at $1,199. So you see the little pricing games and tricks that Nvidia are sort of playing. Now, definitely a place like Best Buy in the US, in my opinion, is probably, along with Micro Center, the two best sources of actually getting a GPU at a reasonable price. At Micro Center, you're going to have a wider selection of stuff that's always in stock, but you're not going to be able to get sort of the golden GPUs, which in my opinion are the Founders Edition, because they have literally almost the same performance as the much more expensive AIB models. In my opinion, much higher build quality than almost any other GPU. They feel fantastic, and they're the cheapest regular MSRP as when they came out, because Nvidia never decided to increase that MSRP, at least not openly, without actually introducing a new model like they did with the TIs and things like that. So if you're looking for a GPU today, I would check out Best Buy, follow all the, Discord, the drops, things like that. Look on the app. I've posted various videos on this. Second, maybe if you have a Micro Center. If you don't and you're somewhere without these stores, check out, look on Newegg. They've had a lot of issues recently with, Gamers Nexus pointing out a lot of issues that, they've had with returns and things like that. So, just be aware. But Newegg has GPUs. Sometimes they'll have a decent one that's not part of the shuffle. So you may, maybe get lucky there. And of course, don't forget to check out the used market, the secondhand market. Not necessarily saying you should pay a scalper and just get the GPU that you want, but the prices are going down enough that it's pushing everything down. So for example, if before you wanted to get even a 2080 Ti, they went up really, really high, but now that a 3080 is going down in price, they're also going to be pushed down a considerable amount, and people aren't going to want them nearly as much. So even though it's not going to be the cheapest point right now, or maybe we'll get some bigger developments and sort of Ethereum or something like that that causes sort of a market crash, then you're definitely going to find GPUs for cheaper. But at least for now, used market is really not a bad idea. You may even be able to get a new RTX 3000 for not as much of a markup. Maybe somebody just wants to upgrade, and considering the prices are a little bit more relaxed now, you may be able to haggle a little bit better deal than you would have before, because I understand for a lot of people it's still difficult to find them in the store. If you're not lucky with Best Buy and stopping by and checking that out, or Micro Center, or even if you don't catch the exact one at the exact time online like Newegg, or even Amazon occasionally will have them, even though they do happen to go pretty quickly. I guess your other option is to find somebody else who did that, and at the worst case, you're going to have to pay a little markup. But at the end of the day, everybody's marking up these GPUs. Even if you go to a store, unless it's that Founders Edition, they're all going to be considerably higher MSRP, which pretty much look like secondhand scalper pricing at this point. The original MSRPs have become inflated sort of officially if you follow it like that. So at least we're glad to see more GPUs being available. Pricing is better, so that's definitely a pretty good update to the market. I think it's better now than it's been in a very long time. Hopefully it continues to improve so that enthusiasm for PC building and gaming come back in a big way. Alright guys, so let me know what you think down below. Are you having an easier time finding these GPUs? Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.